So it's that time of the season again, not Christmas. Instead, you get how to get to diamond, which I guess could be the gift that keeps on giving every single season. Whatever. Anyways, today I want to talk to you guys about how you guys can help yourself get to diamond, some tips, some tricks, some whatever the heck you else want to call it. I feel like I have some good personal experience with this season, or I guess, season 6, because I actually got demoted all the way to the bottom of diamond, around 3,000 from just not playing. I lost 3 games, so I got into plat, and then I slowly climbed my way back into diamond. So I have real world experience last season of how to get to diamond. So hopefully that can help you guys just a little bit. Anyways, let's just go straight on to my first idea, and this is something that I'm going to say every single season, but it's something that is very important for you to kind of keep in mind. Make sure at the very beginning of the season to pick a hero to main. And I feel like this isn't very hard compared to previous seasons, because beforehand you'd have to wait, 4 or 5 months with the same hero, but now you only got to play him for 2 months. If you can get yourself to commit to one hero for 2 months, that's going to help yourself a lot. Of course, one-tricking heroes has many benefits. You climb faster, you get better at them faster, you learn the matchups faster, and overall just the way the stats and the way the game works, you can get below a 50% win rate and still climb with them. So that's pretty obvious. So pick a hero, don't be a liability, and just go with them continuously for 2 months. And this could be a DPS, a tank, whatever. Even if you want to fill, just try to play this hero when it fits your team at least. I know that there's a lot of people that really like to fill, and personally, I love to fill. And if you pick a hero that you're maining, that doesn't mean you always have to play them. Essentially what I'm trying to tell you guys is pick a hero you want to main, that you want to try to play as much as you can. But when your team comp's absolutely terrible with 4 DPS, maybe you should go somebody else and pick somebody that fits your team. But, if you do have the opportunity that you have an extra DPS slot, or you instant lock DPS and there aren't 4 DPS in your team, try to play them, try to go in with them, and just try to do it for at least the end of the season. And I think something you might want to realize as well is that you shouldn't pick a hero that you've already picked for the last 2 or 3 seasons. It should be obvious to you by now that you aren't climbing with them, that maybe you need to learn knowledge from somewhere else in the game, and that you should at least try somebody else for 1 season, and then go back to who you played before and see what you learned and see if it helped you at all. That can help you out quite a bit, and that's all I'm really going to say about that tip. Secondly, stop caring about the meta, at least for yourself, and just play the heroes you will grind the most hours with. I think this is a thing that is something that people don't want to hear. You want to hear, just play the meta, climb quick, do whatever, especially with people on your teammates, or people that you're playing with, I should say. But if you yourself are playing the game, you're going to climb the most if you play somebody that you can grind. If you play your favorite characters, the characters that you can put hours and hours into, you're going to climb the most overall long term, because you can play a ton of hours with them. You can enjoy them a ton. You can really just put in a lot of work with them. Sure, you might not climb as fast as picking a top tier. That's for sure. You climb a lot faster if you pick someone like Tracer than if you pick someone like Doomfist right now. But if you can put in more time with one than the other, because you just simply know, I like this character more, you're going to climb further in the long run. And that's kind of what you got to think about this as. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon, especially if you've been playing for a few seasons. So just kind of think of it as slowly improving and playing the characters you enjoy, instead of, let me just pick this top tier. Let's try to go in there and switch every single season and just keep not really getting any better. Don't do that. Play the people that you actually enjoy and try to actually climb with them. Another thing about how to get to diamond is that you should always have a support secondary. I know that a lot of people don't like playing support, but you should always just choose one at the beginning of the season. Unless, you're a support main this season, then you don't really have to. But for everyone else, even if you're a tank main, pick a support that you're going to go every single time you have to play support. Probably the best idea right now is to pick Mercy, because she's not way too hard. She has immediate impact, very powerful. But otherwise you could go like Zenyatta or Lucio, as they're pretty good as well. Try to go your main every single game, as I said earlier. Try to go whoever you're best at. But if you have your secondary support, you can really fill any team comp that you need to. If your team, let's say, for example, has 4 DPS, you can go that support, you can increase your chance of winning. And sure, you might not 100% win that game, but there's a much higher percent chance that you could win with 3 DPS, 1 tank, and 2 supports than 4 DPS, 1 tank, and 1 support. So just kind of think of it about it like that. Team comp does really matter. Try to play the heroes that you're best at whenever you can, but again, if you can't get them, just take the better route for the most part. Something else that I feel like really doesn't get discussed at all, but I feel like is very important to yourself. try to play as little cheese comps this season as humanly possible. Of course, if your team is forcing a cheese comp, go for it, play it, whatever. But if you keep trying to put in as many cheese comps as you can to try to hopefully cheese your way up the ladder, don't do that. Try to actually focus on getting better at your favorite heroes. Of course, if you do main a cheese hero, I guess, cheese comp all the way you want to. But if you're not maining a cheese hero, like let's say you're trying to main like soldier or something, just keep trying to focus on playing the heroes you want to get better at, the heroes you've told yourself you're going to main this season, and just try to learn how to, I guess, even kind of cheese with those heroes. I'd say it's much better to get better at a hero than to maybe win a game, because who knows, you might lose a game later and it'll just get rid of that SR, while if you get better at a hero, if you lose a game, you aren't going to get worse at that hero, you're still better. So in the long run, again, as far as the marathon, it's really worth your time. Now I'm going to get onto some stuff that I feel like is not, I guess, 100% in-game related, but again, some mindset stuff that I feel like is like the most important things to help me personally climb up. I hope the most of them apply to you. Let's just get going with a few of those. The first one is to get yourself into the grinding attitude, and to get yourself to actually play whenever you have time. I know that shouldn't really be something I have to tell you guys, but for myself at least, it's something I really wish I could have heard definitely a few seasons ago, and I eventually did hear it, and that's why I'm trying to tell you guys this right now. I know that you might want to climb, but you're not going to do it unless you put in the grind. You're not going to get up the ranks unless you put in the time to get up the ranks. And especially for myself, you just kind of have to realize that sometimes you can fit in maybe an Overwatch game here or an Overwatch game there, or maybe you could make some time here or there. You kind of just have to help yourself, give yourself time to play. And one thing that I feel like is especially important is to try to give yourself time to play by yourself. I do think that duo queuing with other people is nice. It helps yourself climb. You can really work together with teamwork, but you aren't really improving as fast. And I feel like one of those reasons is that you often make excuses for your friend, and your friend is often going to make excuses for you. And you're just going to kind of talk about it and not really think about what you're personally doing wrong, and that can really hurt yourself as far as growth goes. If you're not really thinking, what did I mess up this game, of course you're not going to try to improve way too much. I feel like you're generally going to focus a lot more on your own gameplay when you put aside some time for yourself, when you try to grind by yourself, and of course you can still play with the other friends. I'm not saying that's a thing you don't want to do, but maybe this season at least try a little bit to play by yourself for a bit if you normally just play all the time with your friends. Next, as far as mindset, I guess, try to watch the best players on your hero in this new season, not in the old seasons. That's something that I really want to grind down to you guys. While you can learn a ton from the mechanics and from the general gameplay of people in older seasons, I feel like you kind of just have to look at new players in the new season and what they're doing, and the top players and the gameplays and the tips and everything from the new season, mainly to see how they deal with problem heroes for their certain hero. I guess a really good example would be all the characters that aren't very good against Junkrat, which you might not know who they are right now, and you might not know if your main's not way too good against Junkrat. But often in past seasons, you wouldn't really know how to deal with Junkrat because nobody picked him. But now, let's say like if you're a McCree main, you might watch some McCree gameplay and see more Junkrats that your McCree main's facing. You can figure out how he deals with that problem, and you can actually take that into your own gameplay. There's just a lot of different problem heroes that show up every single season, and different heroes that come in and out, and different ways that people are playing every single season. And I'd say maybe put in like 1 to 2 hours just watching your favorite characters, maybe watching your favorite players in a stream or in gameplays or whatever, and just kind of figure out how the meta is working out this season, because it does change every single season. And just figuring out how it works and figuring out how to beat your new counters and figuring, I guess, as well, out who you are countering that comes out of this new meta, that's something that's going to win you a ton of games. And generally just having a better grasp on the new season before everybody else does by watching the best players that figure it out the fastest, that's going to help yourself win the most amount of games as possible. And finally, just in general, try to watch any guides on better players. Myself, I watched the Stylosa guide, of course, as well, the memer, but with Chipsa playing Doomfist. And I thought that was really interesting. Of course, there is a lot of time that you feel like they're just kind of wasting, just kind of talking about whatever. Speed that up to double speed. But try to learn what they're doing and try to learn their best tips and kind of how they're playing. I feel like the most really important thing to learn from them as well, though, is, how they actually get their kills. For myself, I learned that Chipsa normally goes in with his E, shifts up his Doomfist to knock them into the air, shoots them twice, and then uses his Rocket Punch to escape instead of trying to get kills with it. I didn't know you were really supposed to do that. I just kind of assumed, as many other people did, that the Rocket Punch is the main killing mechanism, but for him, it's often not. So there's just different things that you aren't really thinking about that you might not even notice when you're watching gameplay. So if you can't find a guide about a certain character from either somebody that talks about characters a lot, like I do maybe, or just the person themselves, which is definitely the best source, try to go for that. If you can't happen to find any guides though, again, just look at their own gameplay and try to add as much of it as possible onto your own. I know that, people don't like to copy other people, but if you can learn what really great stuff others are doing, it's going to be worth your time and it's going to win you a ton of games and really just help yourself climb up. And of course, do much better against higher ranked players because you're going to kind of know how higher ranked players are playing, how they group up, how everything works because you've already seen it in gameplay. But anyways, that's at least my own personal opinions and really what I've used and what I've kind of felt through when trying to get to Diamond. And I hope that these tips help you guys just a little bit. If they did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below if these do help you to get to Diamond, maybe if you come back in a little bit, and press the subscribe button if you want to see any videos like this in the future. Anyways, as always guys, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, have a wonderful day.